family. Thank you so much for tuning in to Conscious Conversations. I'm your host, Queen Hannah Bay. I want to welcome you to tonight's conversation. Tonight's conversation is entitled, I Want to Be Down. That is also the name of the title track that you hear by our Queen Brandy. I do not own the rights to this music, but I did choose this music for tonight's conversation because I want to dedicate it to our 2020 presidential nominee, Miss Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris did an interview yesterday on The Breakfast Club. If you guys haven't had the opportunity to check that out, I ask that you do so. So right here on tonight's conversation, we are going to get into who is Kamala Harris, what was she talking about on that interview in The Breakfast Club, and the black agenda that she has for the black community. So I ask that you share this video. Again, subscribe to our channel. We are an up and coming channel here on Conscious Conversations TV, where we're going to have a network of women coming to just uplift and evolve the community in any way that they can. Right now, I'm your host. I'm going to be hosting one of the shows, but again, we do have some other melanated queens who are going to come and give their input just to help us evolve and elevate and educate the community. So again, I welcome you to Conscious Conversations. I welcome your comments. I welcome your concerns. You can follow me on Facebook at Conscious Conversations. You can add me on Facebook. My name is Queen Hannah Bay. And you can also follow me on Instagram at Queen Hannah Bay as well. Again, thanks for joining tonight's conversation. It's going to be dedicated to our sister, Kamala Harris, since she wants to be down. So go ahead and tune in. We're going to get into that conversation right after this. Thank you again for tuning in. As I mentioned in the introduction, the title and the topic of tonight's broadcast is entitled, I Want to Be Down. And it's a song by Brandy, but we're going to go ahead and dedicate that song to Kamala Harris, which is the 2020 presidential nominee. Now, I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but Kamala Harris came out on Martin Luther King's birthday. The holiday that we reserved for his birthday, and she was at the College of Howard University when she announced that she's going to be running for the presidential nominee of 2020. Now, a lot of people were very excited about her running as a black woman and as a alumnus of Howard University. And she's also an AKA. She's a member of the AKA sorority. So, for those things, yeah, a lot of black people would say, yeah, we're going to go ahead and vote for her. She also came out recently where she was recorded dancing to a song of Cardi B's, in which she was alleged to be pulling her hair back to show her ethnic edges. I'm not sure about the ethnic edges and all that good stuff, but I did remember seeing the clip of her dancing to Cardi B. And I remember when I saw that clip, it was our first time, hearing about us, for those who don't really follow politics like that, because I'm not going to front. I'm from the hood, and where I'm from, we don't really get into politics like that. We just know that things have always been a certain type of way, and we just go with the flow. So a lot of times we don't watch, the State of the Union addresses. We don't watch the little Congress and the things that comes on TV. That has a lot to do with politics. So again, that's the reason why I kind of created this channel, because I want to be able to be the bridge between people in my community and people who are in politics. A lot of times they use a lot of jargon and words that we don't understand. So hopefully I want to, try to come in and be the bridge between that. Now, I'm not claiming to be the one who knows everything about everyone, but I do know that I'm going to think. No one's going to tell me that I can't think. So if someone comes out and announces that they want to run for president, then of course I'm going to do my background and I'm going to check into who this person is and where she came from. So again, that was my first time hearing of her when she announced her candidacy for presidency on the campus of Howard University. So in the beginning, I was like, oh, wow, we got a black lady. She went to college here in, Howard University in D.C. She's an AKA, which is, I went to a historically black college and university, Virginia State University. So I'm very familiar with the HBCUs, and I know how, the college climate is amongst the black community on campus. So when I saw her come out and do that, I was like, okay, we might be getting somewhere in America because, you know, usually we don't see people of our color, you know, holding positions of power. So when she came out, I was really like, okay, so let me dig into her and see what's going on. So before I had the opportunity to dig into her, I saw a video of her floating around and she was dancing to Cardi B. And I just felt like she was kind of pandering to the black vote. I really felt like she was pandering to the black vote. So that's what I thought. So in my thinking, I decided that I wanted to go ahead and, you know, look her up and find out some things about her. So in the course of my investigation, I found out that she was supposedly named the top cop in San Francisco, and that she was a top prosecutor, and she was also the attorney general for the state of California. Now, when she did her interview on The Breakfast Club, and she has received a lot of backlash from people of, you know, our community, and people all over have given her a lot of backlash because she's a prosecutor. So when she did her interview on yesterday on The Breakfast Club, she was saying that a lot of people may not want her to be the president because she has the reputation of being a top cop. Now, on the show, Charlamagne the God and DJ Envy, they are, I'm not going to say they're in a position of power, but they're in a position of power to the black community when it comes to black media. A lot of times, us folks down here on the grassroots, a lot of our concerns don't get heard. So people such as Charlamagne and DJ Envy and Angela Yee, though they are in certain places of power and they're able to ask questions and get next to some people who we may not necessarily be able to get next to. So when they did this interview, I was expecting them to really do their research and really ask her some really specific questions pertaining to what she's going to do for the black community in 2020. So they feel like she was attacked out of the gate. Now, I'm going to say I didn't attack you out of the gate. I just simply wanted to know who you were and what were your previous policies and what did you stand for prior to coming into this presidential nominee. So once I did my research, I found out that Kamala Harris was not a progressive prosecutor. Even though she prides herself in being this top cop, she was not a progressive prosecutor. In fact, a lot of other people who were progressive and wanted her to rally around certain issues regarding prison reform, they are stating that Senator Kamala Harris fought them tooth and nail on prison reform, on different programs that can assist them with the mass incarceration we have of our black males in, you know, the system. They're saying that she fought tooth and nail. Now, here on my show, I believe in receipts. When I go look up stuff, I try to find the most worthy, credible information. So what I'm reading you now comes from an article that was in the New York Times. Now, the title of the article was "Why Black People Don't Trust Kamala." Now, it states that Kamala Harris was not a progressive prosecutor. Time after time, when progressive urged her to embrace criminal justice reform as an attorney and attorney general, she opposed them or stayed silent and fought them tooth and nail to uphold wrongful convictions that had been secured through official misconduct, including evidence tampering, false testimony, and suppression of evidence by prosecutors. So basically what they're saying is when different people came and tried to offer different programs and things for prison reform, that she fought tooth and nail, and that they even had some cases where she was guilty of tampering with evidence and withholding evidence. Now, we know as a prosecutor, as a top cop, as she said, she does have the power to suppress evidence. Now, how many people do you know have been to jail in this society who are disproportionately black men? Now, 90% of the convictions that they get are plea bargains. So they don't even have the evidence. And then when they do find evidence that can help them get out of a situation, we have people like the top cop, Senator Kamala Harris, who's going to suppress pertinent information that can decide someone's guilt or innocence. They're saying that when given a choice between standing by innocent people or prosecutors, she has consistently proven prosecutors against the people. The article continues to say that her defense attorney record from 2004 until 2011 was from 2004 until 2011. Now, in 2010, She was criticized for withholding information about a police lab tech who had been intentionally sabotaging her work and stealing drugs from the lab. A memo surfaced showing that Kamala Harris's deputies knew about this lab tech's wrongdoings and her conviction, but failed to alert defense lawyers. A judge publicly condemned Kamala Harris and her indifference to the systemic violation of the defendant's constitutional rights. So what this is showing me is that she has a clear track record of hostility, oppression, and persecution of people in the criminal justice system. Anytime a judge has to override you and publicly call you out for your behavior and states that you are involved in systemic oppression, it's a problem here. It's a problem. It's a problem. And you stated on the Breakfast Club that you're going to stand by your reputation, that you don't make no excuses for your reputation, that you had to do what you had to do as an attorney. Now, as an attorney, we all know in America that attorneys are the #1 liars. They are lie-oriers, in the words of Medea. Lie-oriers. They lie. They say anything. They suppress evidence. They do anything that they can do to win a case. So just by that alone, I'm looking at you funny because you're looking funny. I'm looking at you funny, honey. And then after the judge ruled that what you were doing was unconstitutional, you then contested the ruling of that judge, saying that the judge had a conflict of interest with you. Now, because of what you lost that. And because of that, over 600 cases handled by that lab tech had to be overturned. 600 cases involving people's lives that you, Kamala Harris, as a defense attorney and a top prosecutor and a top cop in your own words, fought tooth and nail to keep these innocent people from getting the evidence that they needed to clear their name. Now, is this what you're going to do? Is this how you're going to run the country, Kamala, whatever your name is? I'm going to call you Killer Cam, since you want to be black so bad. I'm going to call you Killer Cam. Cammy, Kamala. Because even though your name, it looks like it's a black name, Kamala, it's in fact an Indian name. It's of Indian descent. Which your mom is an Indian, which I'm not taking nothing away because they're saying that your dad is a Jamaican. But let's not pretend that, let's not act like you were raised by your father. You were not raised by your father. Your mother is actually from an elite class in India. She's from one of the top classes. And your father, the Jamaican, he was a caste. He was labeled as the untouchables. And that your mom wasn't even supposed to be, he's supposed to be untouchable. So, yeah, she had you guys, but she didn't stay with him. You were not raised by your father. You were raised by your single mother. And up until you were 14, that's when you moved to Canada. Now, when I first looked you up in Wikipedia, it was brought to my attention that you left when you were 7. But we're going to go ahead with what you said on the Breakfast Club, that you were born in Oakland and that you left when you were 14, well, you said in high school. So around high school, that's like 14 to me. And I know that the years 14 through 18 were the most formative years of my life. My high school years were very formative. So if you spent your high school years in Canada, outside of the country, how can you relate to the black experience in America? Oh, you went to college. I forgot. Yeah. All right. But anyway, back to her and her political reputation, her prosecutor reputation. She stood in the way of that lab tech and that judge. She tried to, but the judge overruled that, and they overruled those 600 cases that were also involved with that lab tech. The judge, and in that, once the judge dismissed Kamala's claims, she still took up for her lab tech. She did not state in no way, shape, or form or fashion that her lab tech was wrong. In my opinion, she should not even be running as a Democratic nominee. She needs to go ahead and run as Republican, because the things that she's doing and her reputation of railroading black people into mass incarceration speaks for itself. It speaks for itself. Again, one of her policies that she was so proud of was her reentry program that she said. Let me check my notes, because I was trying to write down a whole lot of stuff she was saying. Okay, so she said that she's coming up with the reentry initiative, and this is what she prides herself in doing. This is what the #1 program that she had done in California, and that other states were beginning to model programs after hers. And she said that when she did the reentry initiative, it's supposed to be her way of helping people get out of the system and coming back into society. And she was saying how people were saying to her that she's supposed to be locking people up instead of letting them out. Locking them up instead of letting them out. Well, it seems to me, yeah, you did your little program, but you should help them. You should help them re-enter into society, because you are locking up people for simple crimes, simple things such as truancy, which in my opinion is not a crime. But you have made these mothers criminals, all because their children don't want to go to school. That's ridiculous. With Kamala Harris's truancy law, if you miss 3 days out of the entire school year, that is grounds for truancy. Now, on the show, when Charlamagne the God asked her if anyone had actually been to jail for truancy, she said no. Now, when I did my research, I found out that there was an article written by Michael Walsh of the New York Daily News. Now, he states that a California mom by the name of Lorraine Curvis, I can't pronounce it, it's Cuevas, spent 180 days in jail for not sending her children to school in California. What does that sound like? It sounds like a lie to me. It sounds like a lie. It sounds like what you're good at, lying. You sat up there on that show and you said that no mother had went to jail. But from my further investigation, I found out that you placed a woman in jail who was homeless, working 2 jobs because her child didn't go to school. Now, how is that helping or elevating the community? You said that she was guilty of a crime for the simple fact that she did not compel her child to go to school. Now, we all know, we've all been in school, most of us. If you don't want to go somewhere, guess what? You're not going to go. Plenty of times my mom sent me to go to school, and guess what I did? I walked past the school. And it was no fault of her own. She was a single mom going to work, trying to do what she had to do. It's just in the case of this woman who was a single mother, and come to find out she was homeless. You sent a homeless woman to jail because her child decided not to go to school. So what about your programs to help people before they become criminals? Before you give them a criminal record, Kamala, top cop. So with this truancy law that you have in effect, and this is the way that you ran California, and you thought it was so great. And do anybody notice every time anyone asks Kamala Harris anything, she has this laugh, this well, you know, girl, stop using that laugh as a means of deflection or a way to change the topic, honey. We own to you, sis. We own to you. You up here lying, saying that nobody has been to jail behind your truancy bill, and that's a flat-out lie. This woman by the name of Lorraine Curvis gets 180 days in jail behind truancy. So is this the way that you plan on running our country, Kamala? I mean, I want to know. I want to know, because disproportionately, black mothers who are amongst the poverty lines are the ones who's having this problem. You're locking up black mothers. That's what you're doing. You're giving them records, and then once they go to jail, you're claiming to be so great because you gave them a reentry program to help them back into society. Girl, miss me with it. Miss me with that bullshit. Miss me with it. All right, so again, she said that we were, another thing that she said on the interview with Charlamagne the God and DJ Envy was that we were questioning the validity of her blackness. We were questioning her blackness. Now, for me personally, Kamala, Killer Cam, Cam, Sister Cam, whatever you want to be called, sis, I'm not questioning the validity of your ethnicity. If you have a father who is Jamaican, then in America, they have adopted this 1% rule, this one drop rule, that if you have a drop of black blood, then all of a sudden you're black. So, hey, we're going to go with that. You're black. But what you are not is a direct descendant of slaves. Now, this is a term that has been coming up all over the media. It's called ADOS, or some people refer to it of just descendants of slaves, or it can be an American descendant of slaves. Now, what this premise is basically giving a label to the people who have built this country on their backs, and to also differentiate us between regular black people. It's all types of black people. You have African Americans, which are people coming from Africa over here. We have Latino Americans. We have Spanish Americans, Jamaican Americans. We have all types of nationalities and people who consider themselves to be black. But what Kamala Harris is not is a direct descendant of slaves. And that is to say that her ancestors do not have any bones buried on this land from slavery. Now, some people may say that that's not a big thing, but that's a huge thing. That is a huge issue when we have someone who's pretending to be one of us, you know, running for the president of the United States. That's a lot of reasons why a lot of people were also looking at Oprah to run. A lot of us wanted Oprah to run just for the simple fact that Oprah is a descendant of slavery. She has ancestors who has bones on this land, who built this land on their backs through their blood, sweat, and tears. And it's a difference when someone has that inside of them. When they have that legacy inside of them, it's a difference. It's a type of fire that's in their soul that, you know, what they're doing is going to benefit those group of people. It seems in America, they want to cancel us out or make us forget about slavery, but we cannot forget about something that was an integral part in our culture and in our development of this country. Slavery built this country. Without slavery, they would have not able to do the things that they have done. They have built this country on our backs through our labor. And it's unfair that they are trying to erase our history. They already come in with this Black History Month. No, Black History Month, that's everybody. We need Slavery History Month, Direct Descendant of Slavery Month. And those are going to tell the stories of slavery, of the people who were injustice on this land. Those people, we are still out here. Yes, we may not been slaves ourselves, but our ancestors were slaves. And the reparations that are owed to us, they're not able to get them. So we are standing in the place of our ancestors, and we, as American descendants of slaves, are demanding our reparations. Now, when we look at the term American descendant of slaves, I'm not trying to take credit for that term. That term actually came from a guy named Norris Shelton. Norris Shelton. I think he's out of Kentucky. And he has been doing this work for a long time. And he actually honed the phrase descendants of slavery, or descendants of American slavery. But now, more recently, we've had some other people, Yvette Carnell and this guy named Antonio from Tone Talks. They have kind of revamped it, and they're going on with the initiative, and they have, you know, revamped the term. And so now we're saying American descendants of slavery. Now, we're saying that label needs to be on a lot of things. It needs to be on college applications. It needs to be on, just for the simple fact that Black people and descendants of slaves, we are not the same. And it's different things, specific things owed to us as a specific group who have been injustice in America. So we don't want everybody just hopping on the bandwagon, immigrants coming over through immigration saying that we're black, but you just got into this country. We have been here. We've been here, and our families and our ancestors have been here. And like I stated, we built this country on our backs. And those specific set of people who have been injustice and are still injustice till this day, we are demanding our reparations. Now, on the Breakfast Club, Charlemagne the God, he did ask her, what about reparations? Do you believe that black people are owed reparations? And she said, yes. Yes, I do. I believe black people are owed reparations. So then we asked her, you know, well, what's your black agenda for us? What do you plan on doing? And what she said for her black agenda, she focused on HBCUs, which we know she's going to focus on that because she came from there. And I have no qualms or no issues about focusing on HBCUs. But how is that helping the black community? Half of the black community doesn't even make it to college. They don't even make it out of high school. They go straight from school to prison pipeline. So they're not even going to benefit from you focusing on the HBCUs. That is not helping the descendants of slavery. Then you said you're going to focus on families making less than $100,000 a year. Okay, that's all fine, well, and good. And I guess that's supposed to be a part of her LIFT Act. She said that's going to focus on lifting folks out of poverty. And that's great. You should help lift us out of poverty. But again, what folks are you lifting out of poverty? Yeah, it's great. You want to help everybody. That's great. But how do you think that we are going to stand by and allow you to help everybody when you won't even give the people who have suffered a specific injustice in this country what's due to us? How are you going to give everybody something, but you refuse to give us something? People who have went through the Holocaust, they get reparations. They get reparations from France. They get reparations from whoever. Other specific groups of people who have been done injustice to, the Native Americans, they have reparations. They have their own land. They have their little their reservations. They have their own police, their own clinics and hospitals. They don't intermingle with us at all. Why can't you give the descendants of slavery what is due to them? What is so wrong with giving us reparations? Why can't you just say you're going to give this specific group of people what is owed to us? What is so wrong with giving us our just due? But you're going to sit here and give everybody a hand up. Everybody a hand up. And then the hand up that you're going to give, it's basically a tax credit, a $6,000 tax credit, in which you say you're going to give people $500 a month and all this other stuff. But you have to be working in order to receive this incentive. You have to be working in order to receive it. So if you're not working, you don't even have the opportunity to receive that. So how are you lifting folks out of poverty? You're lifting the middle class out of poverty, which they already have a little bit of money. Not saying they have a lot, because with this Trump, his tax reform, the middle class, they're really suffering right now. But what about the lower class? And those people in the lower class are people who have been systematically oppressed. We have had Jim Crow laws. We have had redlining. We have had so many laws created by the powers that be who have held us down since our inception into this country. We didn't immigrate here. We weren't immigrants. We were transported. Y'all came and kidnapped us and brung us here. So now that we're free, so you say, why? What's so hard about giving us what's due to us? But instead of her saying that she's going to give us the reparations, she said she's going to help everybody. And again, it doesn't resonate with her because, again, she is not a descendant of slavery. It seems that they want us and the slave culture to die out. Anytime you talk about slavery, even amongst our own community, sometimes when we talk about slavery and we talk about the things that our ancestors been through, a lot of you are like, oh, I don't want to hear that no more. Why not? This is your culture. This is a part of your DNA. This is who you are. This is who I am. This is who my grandmother was. This is who her mother was and her mother before then. So because they weren't able to continue on their fight, because they died out waiting for their reparations. I am here. And it's a lot of other of us are here. We are here. And we are demanding what is owed to us. So Kamala Harris, if you're not willing to give us what we need and to give us a real black agenda, then baby, you will not get our vote. And I'm not just coming for you, Kamala. I'm coming for any president who wants to run for president in 2020. If you do not have a black agenda, you will not be getting the black vote. We are sick of it. We are tired of it. Now you want to throw Kamala in our face because she's cloaked in black skin. Well, y'all did that with Obama. Now, I love Obama. I love his family. That's what I love. So when I voted for Obama, I voted for Michelle. I voted for a black family in the White House. I thought he was going to do something for us, but no, he did a couple things, but he didn't do what we needed him to do. And you know why? Because, again, he wasn't a DOS either. When someone has a direct connection to the cause and to the fight, they're going to fight this thing with everything in them. And the Lift initiative is not going to lift us out of poverty. The only thing that is going to lift us out of poverty is a change in politics. It's a change in the policies and procedures. Now, you said yourself on the Breakfast Club that your mom told you that you have to get off of your butt and do something about it. Well, guess what, Kamala? You're in the rooms. You're there with the senators. You're in the press conferences. You have the power to change something. So if you want to be our president in 2020, then we're going to need you to stop lying to us, stop pandering for the black vote, and give us a real black agenda. Because this agenda that you stated on the Breakfast Club, this black agenda, it doesn't look black to me. It looks like you're helping everybody. Now, you did say you want to bring, some awareness for public health because of what's going on with black people when we go to the doctor in emergency, like what happened with Serena and Beyonce when they were giving birth, how the healthcare professionals, they're more unlikely to believe black women when they say that they're in pain. Now, her response to that was that the doctors need more training. Come on, Killer Cam. Cam, come on, sis. The doctors need more training. Look how many years of medical school that doctors go to. How much more training do they need? They don't need training. They need a transfer of politics. They need you to make a general consensus, a policy, a procedure that states you're going to give the same treatment to all people. Not just, you're not going to believe black people because we don't feel pain, because that's what they think about us. That came from slavery. That's why they did a whole lot of experiments and things on black women, because they said that we don't feel pain. And that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. So, again, another one of the policies she said she wanted to do, she wanted to legalize marijuana. Now, all of a sudden, she wants to legalize marijuana. But previously, in California, she was against all of these laws. She was stating that we need different type of measurements. We don't know how to measure when someone's intoxicated from smoking, this, that, and the third. Previously, you were against it. You were even against medical marijuana. Now, all of a sudden, since America and the whole country has had a change of heart when it comes to marijuana, now all of a sudden this year that you're announcing your candidacy for presidency, that you want to go ahead and say that you support the legalization of marijuana. Girl, please. Please. Then you want to get up there and say you smoked before. Like, I feel like you was just doing too much. You were doing too much to try to pander to the black vote. Like, come on, sis. You are doing too much. I just believe you're doing too much to try to get us to vote for you. Like, sis, if you want the black vote, give us a black agenda. You don't have to dance to Cardi B. You don't have to pull your hair back so we can see your edges. You don't have to say, oh, the movie that I'm watching now is Beale Street. Girl, how come everything we asked you, you had something black to say? Except for when we asked you about that cooking. Oh yeah, you did. You tried to say you made collard greens and shit. But then you told me something. I make veal and we don't eat veal. You're not one of us. You're not one of us. You up there, what you're doing is what they call performance politics. You're performing. You're pretending to be down with us. You come on a Breakfast Club because you know that this is what we listen to. The majority of black people listen to the Breakfast Club. You sit up there and say you like Cardi B because you know that we like Cardi B. You want to sit here and say that you listen to Snoop Dogg and all of this. Girl, please. Please, you have that conversation when you sit down with us, but let's talk about the conversations that you have when you're not with us, when you're not talking to us, when you're not trying to pander to the black vote. Let's talk about the conversation that you have when it comes to your true allegiance to the specific group that you have your allegiance to. See, you don't have allegiance to the DOS because you have a specific allegiance to India. And I'm not talking about Indians, you guys, like Native Americans. I'm talking about Hindu, like Indians with the red dot. She has allegiance to them because that's where her mother is from. That's what she has been taught as a child. That is where all her values and her upbringing, it stems from Indian culture, which nothing is wrong with that. It's okay to have your Indian culture, but it's okay for us to have and acknowledge our culture as well. Now, speaking of those conversations that you're having when you're over there, you are over there telling them they can immigrate into our country, set up their businesses, and have Americans work for them. You are in agreement with that. You didn't actually say that. That was said by Kapoor, K-A-P-O-O-R, which is some official that's over in India. But you agreed with that statement. You were there in the room when that was being said. Did you speak up for us in America? No. You led them to believe that they can come over and immigrate to this country, set up their businesses, and hire us to work for them. Well, who would be the us? Because you know ain't no white Americans going to work for them. So who would be the us? The us would be our black people. And that's why you're not tough on these immigration laws. Now, I don't agree with Trump saying that we need a wall, but we do need to secure the border because different people from different places and different nationalities are coming over here getting the things that are due to us. So, yes, we do need to have security at the border. I agree with that 100%. We need security at the border. We don't need immigrants coming over, taking things that we can't even get, and we built this country. How does it look when immigrants come over to the United States and they turn their nose down on us? They look at us like, why black people don't have nothing? We come here, we open up shops, we open up beauty supplies, we open up corner stores. But you black people, you've been here and you can't open up nothing. You know why? Because we can't get loans. We've been redlined for housing. We don't have the same opportunities as even an immigrant has when we were kidnapped and brought here. So she does not have allegiance to the DOS, but she does have an allegiance to what she's a part of, which is her Indian culture. Which I'm not blaming you for that, sis. But don't come around us and pretend to be us when you go around there and around them and you talking down on us. So if you're going to be on my team, guess what? You got to wear the jersey I'm wearing so that I can know that we're on the same team. But if you got on a different jersey, just because you black, we're not playing for the same team, sweetheart. We're not. And I'm not going to be fooled by your performance politics. I'm not going to be fooled by yours or any other presidential nominee. So don't think that I'm just getting at Kamala Harris, or we're going to discuss all of the candidates. Because it's time for us to stand up and speak up for ourselves. There's nothing wrong with black people standing up for themselves. Every other race does it. What's wrong when we do it? It's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong. It's no secret. It's no secret that we have been oppressed in this country since the first time we stepped foot on this soil. My ancestors' blood cries out from the ground. We demand what is owed to us. Right now, I don't know if you guys are paying attention to what's going on, but they hear us. They hear us. If you hashtag DOS or American descendant of slavery in your Twitter feeds or Facebook, you're going to see they hear us and they're scared. They even had Joy on MSNBC, which is another black woman, up there saying that DOS has been created by Russian robots. They're always trying to blame Russian robots for meddling into something. Like, come on, knock it off. This is not I'm not a robot. I'm here, I'm black, and I'm a direct descendant of slavery, and we are not robots. We're human beings. We're in America, and we have been oppressed since we first came here. And the time is now. We are no longer going to sit back and allow you to continue to oppress us with this white supremacy. Right now, it is a change in power. There is a change. It's a change that's taking place in the atmosphere. Physically and metaphysically, spiritually. There is a change going on. A change of force and power. Now is our time. Just as in slavery, we had people who were coons, people who were willing to do the job of the white master, but look like us. We have those same people today in media. Charlemagne the God. Yeah, you appear to look like us, but are you fighting for what we're fighting for? Or are you just letting everything slide by? Like you didn't even take the time to do the research to even ask her any credible questions. You asked her things that were from memes and social media. I could have did that, Charlemagne. If you're going to do something, you have to really do the work. If you are a journalist and you are able to talk to the people who we can't talk to, then you need to ask the questions that we are asking. Because you cannot ask us to vote if you're not giving us anything to vote for. I'm tired of voting for everybody else to get what they need, and we are still left by the wayside. I'm sick of it. Roland Martin, another coon. Either you for us or you are against us. Either you're going to stand up or you're going to get out the way. Because we are a movement. And we are coming. They hear it. You hear it. So I invite you guys to do your research. Do your investigations. Don't just go by what somebody says to you. Don't just think because somebody went to Howard and they danced to Cardi B and they're AKA that they will make a great presidential nominee and they are going to do something for you, because that's not the case. Look into their past record. Look into what they're saying presently. Investigate and find out for yourself. Now, I'm not going to tell you who to vote for, but what I'm going to tell you is to do your research. Stop going by what just somebody tells you. We have the right to vote for who we want to vote for. Stop telling us who we can and who we can't vote for. No, and that's not what I'm here to do. I'm just simply here to bring a level of awareness to you, so that you can know what you're doing. You can make an informed decision. There is a sound, you guys, that's coming up from the grassroots of this nation. And that sound is rising. They hear us. So don't be afraid to get into this fight with us. Either you're against us or you're with us. But we are fighting for what we deserve. So if you don't have a black agenda, then guess what? My black ass won't be voting. And yeah, I remember back when P. Diddy had his little signs, vote or die, vote or die. Well, I was voting, and guess what? I'm continuously dying. I'm still not seeing any reparations or any agenda or anything that can help black people specifically. We are a specific group of people. Our ancestors built this land. We deserve our reparations and what is owed to us. So again, you guys, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. Please hit that notification button so that when we come back with more information, you'll be notified and you can meet us right here where we can have this conversation. Again, I'm your host, Queen Hannah Bay. Thank you so much. And I want to remind you, Free yourself. Nobody is coming to save you. So we have to free ourselves. Peace, family.